let's talk about Wayne County. A lot of contested races in Wayne County, surprisingly. The district attorney race, of course, the headliner, Michael Calarco taking on David Fulvio. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
I think so.
Democrat and Republican facing off. And then, of course, the Walworth Town Supervisor and the Red Creek Village Mayor race. Red Creek Village, I recall this, maybe it wasn't this last year, but the year prior to that, they had a village board race that had no one running for it. And I remember thinking to myself, this is where that argument, where people will come in and say, okay, there needs to be, if you can't fill the office, how effectively can you run the government?
Right.
And that's where I kind of think this whole like dissolution discussion, that's really where that should be taking place.
Yeah. And that's what you're seeing, because for village trustee, vote for any two, nobody is on the ballot. Yeah. So it says you must write in your candidates. Yeah. So, yeah, if anybody knows someone in Red Creek, you better start going through the phone book and coming up with some candidates that you want to represent you. But that's, it's...
And the numbers will be really interesting. So we'll be back here on election night, going through the results, and what we're going to wind up finding is I'll make a prediction that less than 20 people will turn out to vote in Red Creek. Far as...
I hope you're wrong.
I hope I'm wrong,
mean, that's...
too. It's sad.
It is sad. It's... And I have more to say about that. But, by contrast, then you see in like town of Walworth, for their town council, you've got all kinds of, you've got the Sunshine Party, We the People, all kind of vying for these positions. And that looks like there's a lot of activity going on up in Walworth. Yeah. So, I mean, I see, Susie Jacobs. I mean, there are people that are running who are well known and have been involved in local issues for a long time. If I would be remiss if we didn't cover in Wayne County that Keenan Baldridge is running unopposed for his seat for Rose Supervisor, and he ran for the Senate race that was vacated by Senator DeZolio, and has been on your show. And I was actually sad, to see him not become our state senator, because his command of the issues and the amount of homework he does, Rose should be feeling so blessed that they've got a supervisor who takes it that seriously. If everybody put in that same amount of effort, local government would be in much better shape. So I'm not surprised he's running unopposed, because I think everybody, even though it's a Republican town...
I was going to say, I believe he's one of the only Republicans, if not the only Republican on the Wayne County Board of Supervisors.
Democrat.
Democrat.
Right, yes, on a Republican board, because I think people are so impressed with what he brings to the table. And I think that's another argument for, you can't judge a book by their political affiliation, because people who do good work, regardless of the party affiliation, need people's support. Mm-hmm. You should be willing to come out and vote for somebody who's doing a good job, even if you've told yourself you would never vote for a particular party. I mean, I just don't find that to be a wise way of making a decision.
Yep. And some of the other races shaking out in Wayne County. The Galen Town Council has candidates running: Huron Town Justice, Lyons Town Justice, Lyons Town Council, Macedon Town Council, Marion Town Clerk, Ontario Town Council, the Rose Town Clerk, Savannah Highway, Sodus Town Justice, Sodus Point Village Mayor, in a contested race that I actually forgot to highlight.
Oh, okay.
Really, really, really interesting to me, because this race shaped up out of the flooding that was happening at Sodus Point.
Oh, okay.
During the spring, when the rain was up and Lake Ontario there was this, what seemed like from the outside, a little bit of a power struggle in terms of some really upset residents saying, wait a second, our village leadership isn't doing enough.
Right.
We need to do more.
Where's the advocacy? Right.
Yeah. And while I do think that as much as could have been done was done under those circumstances, short of draining at Lake Ontario, there wasn't much else that could have been done. I do find it interesting that a Republican opponent was picked up to challenge Christian. That said, we've also got the Walworth Town Clerk race, Walworth Town Council, as you just mentioned, in the Wolcott Town Council for a vacancy. Interesting stuff. It'll be really interesting to see how some of these, especially I think that's one of the big things. I always like to look at the rural races to see what the turnout looks like, because unlike some of our more urban areas, Geneva's, Canandaigua, Auburn, the turnout just isn't usually in line, especially in a non-presidential year, obviously.
Yeah. I am curious to see what turnout will be, because I think that in this political climate, it could go one of two ways. People might be frustrated with how contentious things are at the national level and might be checked out. Or, and what I'm hoping, is that people see how contentious things are at the national level and they say, oh my goodness, like, we need to get in there and make sure that our local business is taken care of, because I know it's a cliche, but local government is where the rubber meets the road, right? So you can be as upset and engaged in federal issues as you want. But if you're checked out of local stuff, you're really missing the biggest ticket items that are affecting people's lives immediately. I mean, local government decisions, even though they might seem slow, because government in general is slow, are the quickest turnaround in terms of impact on people's lives. Because, as we've seen in Seneca Falls, you know, a vote taken today could have immediate consequence tomorrow, you know, next week. And on the national level, usually there's more lead up, more debate, more discussion, more procedural stuff before things take effect. And I just feel like if you're not paying attention to local government, you're really missing the action.